Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're diving into Oliver Burkeman's book, The Antidote. It's this fantastic guide that basically flips the script on happiness, arguing that you don't find it by chasing positivity, but by actually embracing the very things we're all taught to run away from. I mean, you know that feeling, right? When you're having a rough day and someone tells you to just look on the bright side, and honestly, it just makes you feel worse? That feeling of exhaustion, of having to constantly perform happiness, is exactly what we're getting into today. So before we can get to the solution that the antidote offers, we first have to really understand the problem it's trying to solve. And it's a big one, a kind of cultural pressure the book calls the tyranny of positivity. And this gets a name, right? It's what we call toxic positivity. It's this massive cultural obsession that screams at us that we should be happy all the time. But the book makes the case that this isn't just unrealistic, it's actually damaging, because it forces us to deny what's really going on in our lives. Okay, so this chart just breaks it down perfectly. On one side, you've got forced positivity. It's all about ignoring reality, which leads to a kind of happiness that's super fragile, like it could break at any moment. But on the other side, there's acceptance. This is about embracing reality, uncertainty and all, and that is the path to building real, genuine strength and resilience. So if that's the problem, what on earth is the answer? Well, the book argues it's something totally counterintuitive, an idea pulled from ancient wisdom, what you could call the Stoics' secret weapon. And here it is, the big paradox at the heart of the book. The more we try to fight off or ignore negative feelings, anxiety, sadness, all of it, the more power we actually give them. It really is like trying to hold a beach ball underwater. The harder you push it down, the more violently it's going to pop right back up. And look, this isn't some brand new, flashy idea. The concepts in this book have these super deep roots in things like ancient Stoicism and Buddhist mindfulness. It's a philosophy built on embracing the fact that we're not perfect, on looking at worst-case scenarios to take away their power, and ultimately finding peace right in the middle of all of life's messiness. Okay, so that's the big idea. But you're probably thinking, how do I actually do this? How does this work in my real life? Well, that brings us to the practical stuff, your antidote action plan. First up is a classic Stoic tool called negative visualization. Now, this is not about being a pessimist, not at all. Instead, you just take a second to imagine a small, pretty manageable setback, like, say, you miss a deadline at work. Then, you just calmly walk through how you would actually deal with it. And that's wild, is that doing this usually lowers your anxiety because it proves to yourself that you're way more capable of handling things than you think. Next up, and this one is a huge mental reframe. Instead of seeing a mistake as this big, awful catastrophe, you learn to see it as just data. It's information. It's telling you what didn't work so you can try something else. This simple switch turns failure from being the end of the world into just being a signpost. It's not a disaster, it's just information. Here's another game changer, rethinking your goals. So you see on the left, you've got this super rigid, high-stress goal, an outcome that's maybe not totally in your control. The pressure is huge. But then look at the right. That's a process goal. It's flexible, it's something you can control, and it's tied to what you actually value. Shifting your goals this way can slash your stress levels, and funny enough, it often makes you way more likely to succeed anyway. And the toolkit just keeps on giving. We're talking about setting flexible goals that just point you in a general direction instead of to some rigid finish line. It's about letting yourself have a balanced view of things instead of always forcing positivity. And building small daily habits, like 10 minutes of mindfulness, or even just writing down one uncomfortable thing you managed to just accept that day. So after all this, where do we end up? What's the point of all this embracing the negative stuff? Well, it all leads to a totally different kind of happiness, a much more resilient happiness. And I really love this quote from the book because it clears up a big misunderstanding people might have. This approach isn't about giving up or just being passive. It's definitely not about throwing your ambitions out the window. It's all about changing how you look at life's challenges so they don't have the power to break you. So what's the ultimate payoff here? What do you get out of this? Well, you get genuine, deep-seated resilience. You find a kind of contentment that's sustainable, one that doesn't just disappear the second things go wrong. And you cultivate this incredible sense of calm and clarity, even when the world around you feels totally chaotic. All right, so that brings us to the end. And I want to leave you with a question to chew on. Instead of pushing it away, what's just one small discomfort? A little worry, a tough conversation you've been putting off, a moment of uncertainty? What's one thing you can just allow to be there today? Because trying that out, that might just be your first step towards a whole new kind of peace. Thanks so much for tuning in.